As the UN and Arab League envoy Kofi Annan visited Syrian refugees in Turkey Tuesday, it became clear that the deadline for government forces to withdraw would not be met.
I had hoped that by now we would have been much further ahead along the road, with the government of Syria honoring its commitment and all the parties beginning to take steps to end all violence of all types.
Many of the refugees say the peace plan has simply given President Bashar al-Assad more time to launch deadly attacks.
There's
no meaning in coming here. Annan should go to Hama, Idlib and other Syrian towns to see the situation there.
Activists post videos on the internet purporting to show government attacks in Homs and in other Syrian cities. Christopher Phillips, an expert on Syrian affairs at Queen Mary University, London, says the continuing violence will force the international community back to the United Nations.
It does go back to the Security Council, and there will be an effort by Western governments to try to embarrass Russia into taking a different stance on Syria and not standing up for what seems to be a dictatorial government oppressing its own people.
Meeting with his Syrian counterpart, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov urged Syria's government to implement the peace plan, but said the opposition must also comply. On Monday, Turkey accused Syria of firing across their shared border into the Kilis refugee camp, killing at least 2 people and injuring several more. VOA visited the camp last month. It is said to house most of the estimated 24,000 refugees now in Turkey. Analyst Christopher Phillips says the apparent border incursions could prompt action.
The big question is how many refugees need to pass into Turkey before the Turks change their opinion and consider taking unilateral action against the Syrian government, or at least setting up a humanitarian corridor. I suspect with a few thousand that have gone into Turkey so far, we're still a long way from that.
For an example of how quickly relations have soured, look at this half-finished highway from Turkey behind me into Syria. It was started before the Syrian uprising began, when tourism and trade were booming. Now, Turkey is leading the diplomatic charge to have Assad removed from power. There is very little traffic going across the border. Construction on this road has stopped. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, on a trip to China, warned Syria's failure to respect the peace plan would have repercussions.
We will take the most appropriate alternative path. And what I mean by different, we don't want to think about.
With little sign of a diplomatic breakthrough and divisions in the international community, analysts say an end to Syria's conflict remains out of reach. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.